In this video, we are going to be talking about what happens when your automation stops working. Now, this is inevitable. You can't avoid it. Sooner or later, your automation is going to shut down. It's going to run into an error. It's going to stop working the way it needs to. Something will happen. And if you're a solo business owner, running into that issue can be devastating because you're running the entire show by yourself. You're doing all of this on your own. So in this video, we are going to be going over a simple 3-step plan for when things go wrong. And if you don't know me, my name is Devin. I've been in the technology space for about 7 years now, across IT, software engineering, cybersecurity, and now AI. So let's get straight into it. The first thing you have to do is be a detective, meaning you gotta find the clue. Before you can fix anything, you gotta know what's wrong. So usually in these automation platforms, depending on what you're using, but more times than not, it's always gonna tell you what's wrong or the general direction that it's in. If you're using N8N, Zapier, Make, whatever, they will show you an error code. Now, these error codes can mean multiple things. For example, if you're getting a 401 error or a 403, it's probably meaning you don't have the right permissions, meaning it's either incorrect password. If it's something like Gmail, actually, let's open up this right here. Compare at a Gmail node, send message, get rid of that. Now, sometimes, is there anything here y'all can't see? No, we good. So sometimes for Google, for example, they might just have you reconnect, meaning you just hit sign in, you go through the process of putting in your password. That's really it. Sometimes, like for certain accounts, after 30 days, 60 days, X amount of time, they might have to redo that consistently. So that might be an issue if you get that error right there. But yeah, this usually means it's something with the permissions. Usually it's either the client credentials or something with it's something with the credentials. Now, a 400 error or a 422. Basically what this means is that you're trying to send a message or a letter without the zip code. Meaning, let's just say you're trying to, again, in the Gmail node, right here, you back out of this. So this plain text. Right here. So basically, if I had this note set up, if I did more to it, or if I let's just say for Gmail, boom, boom, boom. Oh, okay, actually perfect here. This is exactly what I mean. Refresh token is required, meaning you have to go into here, where is it here, hit reconnect and do all that. But I'm not gonna do it right now because I'm not gonna open all that up. But I'm not gonna open all that up right now. But that's pretty much what I meant by the 401 error or the 403, meaning you need permissions, right? Just re-sign back in, you'll be good. So you're trying to send a message, but it's not working, or you're trying to do something and you don't have the correct address where it needs to go. A 404 analogy, you drove to the store, but it moved to a new location. Meaning, if your automation is trying to find something like a PDF file on your local device, if you went into your Finder, if you're on Mac, or if your files, if you're on Windows, and you moved it to a different file, you renamed it, whatever, if the automation can't find it and you get this error right here, it probably means that you did something without noticing. You moved the file, you deleted it, renamed it. Check to see where that file is, because chances are you moved it by mistake. Happens to me all the time. A 429 error. Basically, you're asking someone questions too fast and they tell you to slow down. Meaning you're trying to send information to an app, but there's a speed limit. For example, if you're using something like a Google Sheet node and you're trying to pull information from it constantly, like back to back to back, like too quickly, it will give you this error, meaning slow down. Either add in a wait time node or some type of logic to slow it down, meaning, okay, only handle 5 items at a time, wait 30 seconds, handle a new 5. Very simple. Again, all these errors are very simple. It's not very complicated. If you understand what it means, you'll be able to fix it pretty quickly. Now, 500 error. You called your friends, you called your favorite pizza place, but their phone lines are down. Basically what this means is the problem is that with the app you're trying to connect to, not your automation. Happens all the time. I'll get more into later, actually. This right here is perfect. Sometimes platforms go down. Just recently, if I'm mistaken, most of the internet was down, like last week, the week before that. High Level was down, HubSpot was down, everything was just down. Nothing was working for some odd reason. And if you're trying to run an automation that runs off of something that's down, you're gonna get a code like this. It's not your fault. You can just wait it out, see what happens. But the best way to check to make sure that it's not you is simply go to Google go to Google, type in, here, matter of fact, let's do it right now. Boom, all right, so what I did was I typed in OpenAI status, let's see the status of it, go here, and see right here, it looks like the API is having some issues right about now. Some delays going on, okay. ChatGPT has some issues on Monday. So yeah, if you're having issues with the 500 errors, check it out. Go to their site, check it out, see what's happening. Yeah, so moving on now. Oh, 4401 error. Did I talk about that already? I swore I did. Yeah, so wrong password pretty much. Again, it might not be an issue with you might have to sign back in or reconnect or whatever. Sometimes you might have changed the password, or you renamed the folder, you did something with Google, whatever platform you're using. Chances are you just changed something and now it doesn't have the permission to get back into it. Could be password, could be a folder on a file, it could be a name on a column for a spreadsheet. It doesn't matter. Make sure everything you do, you're documenting it, right? Again, take a simple notebook like this, or having some type of note app on your phone or whatever, and just make a mental note saying, hey, I changed the password for this. Does that connect to anything I'm doing right now as far as automations go? Looking inside the workflow. Now again, sometimes you might not even get an error code. Something might just not work. For example, if we go here and I delete this, and if you watch my previous video, or maybe I didn't do a video on this on YouTube, but basically I made a workflow going over how to connect. I made a video going over how to connect two different workflows. Now this one is supposed to connect to a different workflow, but I'll get into that in a different video. So for right now, I'll go ahead and do that, hit test workflow, and then boom, execute node workflow problem, blah, 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 and valid API key. Boom. So when things don't work in your automations, again, go through workflow, see what's going on. Because again, it could be a simple matter of saying, oh, my API key is incorrect. Sometimes it will tell you that depending on the platform or the endpoint that you're using. Go in, read it, check what's going on. It could be a simple situation where something from a previous node isn't passing over anymore because of any of the issues we mentioned earlier. Doesn't really matter. So in order to fix this, it says right here, 401 error right there. It tells me exactly what the issue is, and it says it right here too. So if we go back over to the other workflow, 1 second. Okay, so we go in here, and I will now change around the API key. I won't show you that one, so 1 second. All right, so I just changed it. Now I'm gonna go back into the other one. So now I'm back in the main trigger. So if I hit test workflow, boom, everything goes through exactly as planned, following the data. Now think of your automation as a line of people passing buckets of water. You got to follow the bucket. If something happens or water randomly drips off between people, you got to check what happens in between the fifth person and the seventh. That sixth person probably dropped the bucket, tilted it, whatever. You want to make sure, because again, I don't want to make this video too much in depth, but there's a lot of things that could happen. For example, if you're running a constant automation for every hour, it goes to a spreadsheet, checks for new contacts, whatever, and runs it. If for some odd reason you pull 7 people and the limit is 5, you might get an error like that, and you might not notice it because the system will keep going and going and going. But for that one call to the spreadsheet where you got 7 people, it could have caused an error that made everything else out of alignment. So if you're running into an error with that situation, you want to go back and see, okay, what happened here? Check each and every single call, check each run and see what was going on, where's the issue, look at it, find the error code, look at the situation, and then go back through everything we said earlier by checking all the error messages. Or sometimes you might not get an error message. It might be something like issue with workflow permission, or not permission, field not found or whatever, right? Let me see. Okay, so boom. So for this example right here, it might get a situation where it's invalid syntax, meaning there's an issue pulling, or an issue with the grammar, you can say, with your code or your little snippet right here. So if I did this, simply added back in the correct syntax, if I hit test step, boom, it works again. So it really depends on the issue. But again, if you have an understanding of whatever platform you're using, for example, if you're using a whole bunch of N8N logic, endpoints and all that, you have to understand a very low level of JSON and Java coding. Meaning, what is a syntax error? What is a 401 error? Just understand what these things mean. That way, when you encounter them, you know what to do. Or again, ask ChatGPT, ask Gemini, ask Grok, whatever, and they'll be able to tell you that as well. Now, with all that being said, now that you understand the steps you need to take to fix it, it's time to fix it. Understanding what platform you're using. If I go back over here, if you have a situation where you're running into a 401 error and you need to reconnect your permissions, you have to understand where to go to do that. Because if you don't know how to fix the permission for your Gmail node, I'll just drag these back over. If you don't know, you have to go here, hit the pencil, hit reconnect. There's no way you're going to understand how to fix it. You could ask OpenAI or ChatGPT, whatever, but that takes time, because the AI is only going to know what you're asking it. So if you're saying my endpoint or my workflow isn't working, it's going to tell you a bunch of steps to take to fix it. But if you simply told it, okay, I have a 401 error with my Gmail node and N8N, how do I fix it? Now it's going to be, okay, here's how you do it. But then again, the AI does not know everything, unfortunately. So the information that it has on N8N might be out of date. If N8N updated their entire user interface yesterday, the AI might not know that. So it's going to tell you, go into settings and then do this and that. But if you go into settings here, there's nothing here. So just having a good understanding of the platform that you're using goes a huge, very long way. For this point right here, you don't have to test every step, because if we look here, if I was to run this over and over and over again, because if I look here, Open Weather Map is going to run out of credits, tokens, whatever. Meaning, if I keep running this 90 times in 1 hour to figure out what the issue is, keep testing it over and over again, I'm going to have to pay for it. That's not necessary. For example, let's just do like this. Boom. Now, let's just assume you're using N8N. Other platforms might be different, but I know for Make, at least in N8N, you don't have to run the entire workflow over just to try out one endpoint. All you gotta do is run it once to get the information from the previous nodes to test it out. Because if I come in here, I can test this over and over again without needing, let me say boom. Let's say I do like this, put it back. And let's see. Instead of hitting test workflow all over again, I can just come here, boom. Now, instead of running this thing 4 times, because there's 2 open, or 2 weather maps. What is this actually? Yeah, weather map, okay. So there's 2 weather maps here. Instead of running this 4 times, I can only do it twice to save money and time. And again, if you have a really expansive workflow, you could be wasting $4 or $5 per run, depending on your build. So you understand you don't have to run the entire thing just to test it out. And last but not least, you could also have a backup plan. Now, for example, let's assume that your OpenAI node goes down. OpenAI is down for whatever reason. If that's the case, you get this error message. You can have it branch off, or you can add in logic to do this. I'm not gonna do it right now just for speed. So you can have something like this where you just pull out a private or a local model instead of having a public one. So with private models, I'll have a video going more in depth to this, but with private models, it doesn't require internet connection. It only depends on your own device. So if your main strong O3 model, for example, from OpenAI goes down, you have this one to fall back onto until it's back up. So it's gonna be as good or powerful, maybe, maybe not. It depends on what you need the AI to do. But if you just need something simple like pulling information from a spreadsheet and then converting it into text or numbers, this model should be able to do it, or your local model should be able to. So again, just adding in conditions like if condition, if this status code is given, And then you would just go in here to make sure that happens. Always output data on error, continue, and that way you'll be able to connect it saying if status code is equal to error, whatever. It'll then pass on whatever information you need to hear from that node into the next one, and then pretty much as a backup logic. But if that's not the case, you have a different situation where you don't have an AI model to do it, you would just have to do it by hand. And that gets into the point of understanding, don't rely on AI for everything, because the AI goes down, you're gonna have to do it unless you have a backup private model. But if that one doesn't work, for whatever the situation is, you have to understand how to do it yourself. And chances are, unless you just created a situation out of thin air, you can do the automation by yourself, because you don't want to automate something you don't understand. You only want to automate a task that you know how to do completely, but it saves you time and money by having it automated. And at the same time, if you don't want to use a local model, you don't want to do all that, you could just swap from OpenAI to a Gemini node, Anthropic, whatever instead, if that company is going through issues at the moment. And then always having a safety net. You can easily install a system or a branch off in your workflow saying, hey, if I get an error, let me know through Gmail, Slack, Telegram, whatever. And then that way you'll always be up to date on the situation. And then you can even add in other logic using an AI model to say, okay, take the information that's wrong, take the error message, and then let me know what's going on in a text message saying, hey, this is happening, here's how you should probably fix it. Again, not going to do all this in one video. This is a lot to go over. Don't want to oversaturate you, but that's pretty much the situation. Now, remember, you are in control. Just because you get an error doesn't mean it's the end of the world. Follow those 3 steps. Be a detective, look inside, have a backup plan. If you understand everything that we went over in this video, and you take it in, you take time out of your own day to understand your platform that you're using, understand what your automation is really doing. Don't just buy a template online and then just install it. Either understand the system yourself or have a AI guy on call 24/7 to help you handle that. And if you do need someone in your corner to help you out with all this automation system, let me know. Click the link down below in the description, book a free 15-minute automation call, and we can go over not only any issues that you might be facing right now, but at the same time, how to install safety measures to prevent further issues. So that's it for the video. If you liked it, like the video, comment, subscribe, all that. And yeah, catch you next time. Appreciate you.